Did I see you adulterating? Oh, spiking that Coke.
Cough medicine. 4 out of 5 New York doctors recommend it.
Oh, really?
Coffee with Jeff. Coffee with Jeff. Coffee with Jeff. Coffee.
Well, hello, how are you? Welcome to my home. My name is Jeff. I'm an old man from the Midwest, and I'm so glad you could join me today. So I have a question for you. What do you think of this latest Mystery Science Theater 3000 reboot? Me, I'm pretty excited. And I have to admit, I was pretty disappointed by both Joel's reboots, the Netflix and the Gizmoplex. They just, to me, weren't that funny. And I tried. I watched them over and over again, thinking maybe there's something I'm not getting, or maybe I'm too old, whatever, but they just weren't funny. Anyway, the new one I'm looking forward to because they're bringing back the 3 of the originals. Well, not the originals, but, from the original show, Mike, Kevin, and Bill, along with Mary Jo, and the Mads are coming back for one episode. It seems really cool. And, the Riff Track guys have been funny for years. They're still funny. So it's basically Riff Tracks, but with the robots. So anyway, I have high hopes. I hope I'm not disappointed one more time. So today we're going to watch a film that was first shown on Mystery Science Theater 3000 on December 12, 1992. It was the 1959 American crime drama film The Rebel Set. It starred Gregg Palmer, Kathleen Crowley, Edward Platt, John Lupton, Don Sullivan, and many other wonderful people. The director of this black and white classic is Gene Fowler Jr. Now, 2 weeks ago, we talked about the making of this film and the people involved, and today we're going to sit down and watch it. Well, at least some of it. So anyway, start the projector. The film opens on a city street with music right out of a 1950s television detective show such as Boston Blackie, Hawaiian Eye, or Peter Gunn. This scene was cut from the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode. A man named Sidney Homer is being chased by police. In a panic, he wants to sell his watch.
Yeah, I just paid $250 for this beauty. Give me 100 and it's yours.
Who needs a fancy watch?
I'm in a bind, mister. Give me 50 and it's yours.
25.
You couldn't do better with a gun. All right already, let me see the dough.
It turns out just to be a scam. He's a tricky guy. And now, hip cats, let's enjoy the cool jazz music of a beatnik coffee house. Bass, bongos, flute, and even a xylophone. Yeah, this is where the action is, and it's not a place for squares. That's our waitress, the beautiful Karen. And what would a beatnik club be without a poet or two?
Strew oceans of lotions and liquid commotion. Put cologne on the beards of each lad.
Sydney shows up, pinches the waitress's butt, and gets away with it because this is the late 50s. The club owner, Mr. Tucker, is playing chess. He almost always wins.
Check and late.
Don't you ever lose one of them set twos?
Rarely, if ever.
Then you must be a virtuous also, as they say.
Yes and no. I merely make sure that my antagonists are bad chess players.
Could I interrupt here and talk directly to Mr. Tucker? You'll never improve your chess game playing bad chess players. I mean, I could play my 6-year-old nephew at basketball and I could crush the poor lad. But would that make me a better basketball player? No, it wouldn't. But you live your life the way you feel appropriate. Something is about to go down. What could it be? Tucker gives Sidney a list of men he wants him to recruit.
Get these 3 gentlemen here tonight after closing time.
Then we're ready to move?
We are indeed.
We meet John Mapes, a wannabe actor.
I'll swear I'll cuff you if you strike me again.
So you may lose your arms.
Look, John, if you're going to work on your craft, take it seriously. Not while you're having a beer.
A coxcomb, a coxcomb, a coxcomb.
Hear that?
A coxcomb.
I hear vinyl is making a comeback. Treat these albums carefully, kids, or this can happen to you.
You're home kind of late, Jeannie.
John is married to Jeannie. Jeannie supports John while he tries to get his acting career going. But she's becoming a little concerned if not irritated at the situation, and rightfully so.
Well, I just hate to see you working so hard, that's all.
And look the other way.
John, I guess, is our protagonist, but I already don't like him. He gets the call about an acting job, but I'm already skeptical.
Well, honey, you know show business. Why, if the guy wants to meet me at midnight, so I'll meet the guy at midnight. Oh, come on, how about dinner, huh? Hey, you know the old saying, a hungry actor never gets a job.
Now let's think about this for a minute. He's been home all day, drinking beer, practicing his acting, and she just finished a double shift. And what does he demand when she gets home? Dinner. What a scumbag. Now that's George Leland, and he's being bailed out of jail. You know, until this viewing, I didn't realize the record John was using to practice his acting was a Rita Leland record. That's George's mother, and they have a weird relationship.
What for? Doesn't he know that my mother won't give me a dime? Unless I straighten up and go live on that lousy ranch her third husband gave her?
That lady there, doing the typical dance done in a beatnik coffee house, she's played by Gloria Moreland. It has nothing to do with the plot, but it's setting the mood. Sidney is recruiting Ray Miller, a would-be writer who keeps getting rejected by publishers. So John, George, and Ray meet with Mr. Tucker, with Sidney hanging around. And Tucker quickly puts them all in their place.
What I want to know is why'd you pick us? I mean us three.
Because none of you are beat, you're merely beaten. You're not detached, you're unemployed. You're not dispassionate, you're afraid, scared.
He's got this $1 million crime he needs help with, and for some reason he picked these three losers for his partner. We don't get the details of the master plan, but we'll see it unfold.
You said I was just right for the part.
Oh, Johnny, you're not kidding.
Not at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm not. Why the devil can a woman ever learn a simple way of squeezing a tube of toothpaste?
So not only does John make his wife work a double shift and then has her make him his dinner, but now he lies to her as well. Again, I don't like him.
Oh, I'm going with you.
I'm only getting one ticket.
I've got next month's rent. We can use that for my ticket. Oh, Johnny.
Now let's take a break from this crime of the century tale for a little beat poetry and a rich woman who fancies herself hip and drags her husband to the club. Since in about a minute, we're gonna leave this subplot of a beatnik coffee house and go on a road trip, all this is pointless, but probably necessary to get the running time up to an acceptable length.
Go, capricious Luna, on thy fool's errand.
Bravo, O Majesty!
Thank you, old square.
But before we get going, Karen falls for one of Sidney's fake watches.
Well, it's not working.
Huh? Never trust that Sidney again, that H-E-A-L.
I'm starting to think that the writers of this film don't think much of women. Anyway, now that's a wrap on Karen, one of the only interesting characters in the whole film. So why did Tucker recruit these bunch of losers?
I excite the sleeping ambition of half-talented men, giving each of them a glimpse of the promised land, the prospect of an hour of glory to lift them out of their drab and hopeless swamp of mediocrity. Once inspired by this last chance to excel, a creep, as you so poetically put it, will go on the mission with zeal and a single purpose unmatched even by the most expert and practiced criminal.
I don't want to disappoint Mr. Tucker, but I don't think any of these three men he recruited are approaching this mission with anything that could be called zeal. So they all board a train to head for Chicago. Okay, we're about a half hour into our film, and let's see where we're at so far. A coffee shop owner has recruited a failed writer, a failed actor, and the son of a rich entertainer to commit the $1 million crime. The actor's bringing along his naive wife, and they're all headed out to Chicago. That's about it. Nothing of importance really happens on the train. We see them get off the train without much excitement, except John continues to lie to his wife and treats her like a child.
You're not ashamed of me, are you?
Oh, of course not, darling. It's just that I feel a bit self-conscious making a pitch with anyone listening in.
With me listening in, John, I'm your wife.
A wonderful one, too. Now, come on, be a good girl, huh? Here. Go to the pump room and have yourself a good time.
That milk ought to be quite a shock to Ray's flask.
Don't fire until it hits that spot exactly.
Finally, with over half the film over, we get to the crime, but really, do we need all this getting ready for the crime stuff? Man, I just want to go back to the coffee house. I mean, seriously, the getting ready for the crime montage is almost longer than the crime itself. And on a 1 to 10 scale on the interesting meter, with 10 being the most exciting, this film would be lucky to get a 1. I don't know what to make of that. What's he sitting on? Ugh. Now let's speed things up. George shoots the tire of an armored car, causing it to crash into Sydney. The men in the armored car get out to help, just as a fake police car with Ray and John dressed as policemen drive up. And then it's cha-ching, the perfect crime. Nothing goes wrong, and that keeps the excitement level to a minimum. Maybe the writers didn't want to overstimulate the audience, but they hear real police sirens. Well, that creates some tension. Personally, I'd like to see something not go to plan a bit early to create some excitement, but hey, what do I know? What we really need to increase the tension is the changing and bearing of the clothes used in the crime. I mean, if they just cut to boarding the train, I would have assumed they got rid of the clothes, but hey, we gotta see every detail. Who did Gene Fowler Jr. take directing lessons from? Ed Wood?
Hey, Leland. I'm Jack Sims, the Chicago Morning Star.
Why don't you guys leave me alone?
How about your mother? There's a rumor Count Rufino gave you the air.
Get out of my way.
Listen, Buster. You know, you could use a little more goodwill from the press.
Excuse me?
So now they're on the train with the money. And this is where the story really begins, with about 30 minutes left in the film. Hey, wait, he's not a priest? And look who's starting to have her doubts. Everything went to plan until George suddenly becomes Fred C. Dobbs in The Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
What's the matter with you? Tucker warned us about guns.
I need a gun to protect my beautiful money.
Your money?
There's your cut. Now you get out of here.
Oh, you don't think you're gonna get away with this?
There's always one, right, folks? A fight. John takes the money, but look who notices. You know, I'm amazed by how smooth trains were back then. You know, I've taken a modern train across the country before, and let me tell you, this train they got here seems a lot smoother than the way I remember it.
What are you doing with that? I just had a fight with George. I had to slug him. Thieves falling out? He wanted to keep all the money for himself. I don't want it here. What about your compartment? And have Jeannie find it? I don't want it here.
John and Ray go to talk some sense into George, but when they get there...
Forgot to mention one thing. You put a bullet through his brain.
All I did was hit him.
That's your story.
I didn't use a gun. It was the one I took from him. Take a look for yourself.
It was made to look like a suicide, but Ray has a problem. The suicide note was obviously typed on his typewriter.
No! You could trace that note to me. He's tried committing suicide before. You could get rid of your typewriter. That would mean that only you and I know that it was murder. You're forgetting someone else. Who? A murderer.
Let's watch that again.
Who? A murderer.
Do you get it? Because the suicide note was written on Ray's typewriter, he throws it off the train. But look who shows up.
Who are you? I'm the Reverend Basil Cunningham of Pembroke, New Hampshire.
Should have known you'd never let that money get too far away from you. You're the one who killed George.
One less share to disperse. And now, Mr. Miller, there'll be still another share less.
You don't have to kill me. I didn't want any of your damn money.
Sometimes you wonder who you can trust. In a scene that was cut from the MST3K episode, Tucker, as the Reverend Cunningham, visits John and Jeannie. It's a very strange scene. For one, he just walks in while she's getting dressed. Hey guys, you might want to lock your cabin door. But I guess the point of the scene is letting John know not to say anything.
I'm sure Reverend Cunningham has a reason for coming to see us.
Thank you, my dear, I have. I observed you earlier on the train, young, loving, with your lives before you, so long as you did not lust for power and gold.
I have no objections to money.
But would you kill for it?
Of course he wouldn't.
As for the rest, I think you'll agree with me in this late hour that silence is golden. Or was.
Well, it appears two ladies have discovered Leland's body.
We could be witnesses.
Ladies, please.
A few minutes after Reverend Cunningham leaves, John and Jeannie have a talk, and she discovers something as she looks for a cigarette.
What are you doing?
Why, getting a cigarette. Johnny,
Yeah,
where'd you get all that money?
stage money.
And I could be wrong here, but I think Jeannie's putting two and two together. And Gene Roth knows something's not right.
One of the passengers is missing.
Indeed, who?
That rider in compartment D. The fellow I gave all my stories to.
You must have had a very urgent reason to jump from a speeding train, don't you think?
A very good reason.
Which was?
His typewriter.
Time for a confession.
Jeannie,
Yes.
about that money.
What about it, Johnny?
I've been lying to you.
Where did you get it?
From the Chicago robbery.
Arriving in New Jersey, the police finally get involved. Time for John to confess to the police.
You wait here.
My name's John Mapes. I've got something to tell the police.
Let him in, Pat.
George Leland didn't commit suicide.
We know that. You trying to confess his murder?
No, sir. But the both of us were involved in the Chicago armored car robbery.
Aren't you having delusions of grandeur?
I know where the money is.
Now, to make a long story short, the police don't believe John, especially when the money is missing.
Who do you think you're kidding?
But that's where we hid the money.
When the police attempt to arrest John, he narrowly escapes, thanks to his wife's help. Now Tucker seems to be getting away. And now finally, with about 10 minutes left in the film, we have some action. A thrilling chase. It goes on and on for a while. Of course, the police are terrible at shooting, but that goes without saying. Now, there's an art in creating a tense, thrilling chase scene, and as far as art goes, Gene Fowler isn't Vincent van Gogh. He's more like an 8-year-old painting with his fingers. And this chase goes on forever. There's a bit of a fight, and it goes on and on and on and on with very little excitement. As James Bond would say,
positively shocking.
And in the end, John is arrested. I'm not sure how long he's going away for, but I guess his confession and the help in catching the actual criminal might account for something.
Your husband helped nab the killer. That'll be in his favor. Come on, fella.
I'm assuming that Ginny promised to wait for him, but that's what they all say. Am I right, folks? We'll see how long that lasts. And in the end, we see George Leland's rich mother.
Poor little me, I'm not news.
So just try telling that to my editor.
Well, it really was because of my darling, darling boy. I'd come home to be a real mother to him.
She is either crazy or doesn't know her son is dead. Actually, I think this is supposed to be one of those ironic endings, you know? She's ready to finally be a mother, but her son's dead, one of those type of things. That might have worked if we knew a little bit more about the relationship, but hey, whatever. Okay, the main problem I have with this film is that the only likable character is Jeannie. Everybody else is just flat and dull and, well, unlikable. I think what would have been better is to start the film with John at an audition for a part in a play that he doesn't get. And he's got to go back to a job that he hates, you know, a low-level job, and he's all depressed and whatnot. And Jeannie could have had, you know, a very successful father who's offering him a job in his office, but he doesn't want an office job. He wants to make it as an actor. Now, a friend of his has this play he's trying to get off the ground that he's going to make John the star of, but he can't unless he gets some money to get it rolling. So this crime of the century seems like the perfect opportunity, the perfect way to solve all his problems. Then we would have some real conflict. Now, the thing I would really change at this film, if you're going to keep it the same, is to end the film at the coffee house where it began. Sort of to bookend the film, you know. The crooks could have arranged to meet there to divide up the money. And the waitress, Karen, she could save John by shooting Sidney in the back of the head. Remember, Sidney's the one who pinched her butt earlier in the film. Then I have this amazing shot where Tucker reaches up and moves the chess piece, and then mumbles checkmate and then falls to his death. Okay, maybe that ending's a little stupid, but you get the general idea. I do like the bookend the film with the coffee house at the beginning and in the end. And what is the rebel set? I don't think any of these characters are rebels, and they're not even beatniks, so they're just losers, basically, all of them. Everyone, losers, except for Karen, and that's because she was pretty. Anyway, do you have a better name for this film? I don't know. I'm trying to think of one. I haven't come up with it yet. Now, Mystery Science Theater 3000 showed 63 minutes of this 71-minute film, and they cut out about 8 minutes. There is the pre-credit sequence, which explains the whole watch thing with Karen later. There's a little bit more when John tells Jeannie about his acting job, including her telling him that she's going to come with him. A short conversation between Ray and George, and another short conversation between Ray and George. There's the scene in which Tucker as the Reverend visits John and Jeannie on the train, and there's a few other little bits here and there that were cut out. Some of these do add a little to the story, but is it worth watching? I don't know. I'll leave that up to you. Now, how about a few obscure references?
Do you mind if we dance with your date?
That line, of course, is from the classic 1978 film National Lampoon's Animal House, in which many of the college students find themselves in an all-black nightclub and, well...
Do you mind if we dance with your dates?
Ba ba da 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 da.
And that is the theme song from the Bob Newhart Show, which took place in Chicago.
Mrs. Webb, you're backing up. That's a one-way, Mrs. Webb. Don't pull out.
And that, of course, is Bob Newhart doing an old classic bit of his where he plays a driving instructor.
Mrs. Webb, maybe we better stop here. Well, I don't think you're going to make it between the truck and the building. Mrs. Webb? Mrs. Webb, I don't think you're going to... Mrs. Webb, I really didn't think you were going to make it.
So what's coming up next on this channel? Well, I'm working on a documentary of Bruno Vissoto. You know Bruno, right? He was in such films as Dementia from '55, Daddy-O from '58, Attack of the Giant Leeches, and The Wasp Woman from 1959, and The Wild World of Batwoman from 1965. He was also a writer and director, and I think he would make a pretty interesting story, but the problem is I'm not finding a lot of information out there about the dude. I wish there was more. I might have to just forget this one and move on to something else, because... Anyway, for the next Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode, I'll be talking about 1965's The Human Duplicators, starring the very tall Richard Kiel and the beautiful Dolores Faith. That'll be coming up. That might be next week. I'm not really sure. And I want to thank you for joining me, right? I appreciate all the comments everybody leaves. That thrills me to no end. I don't always comment back or talk about them on the air, but believe me, it's really appreciated. I want you to take care, try to stay healthy, and I'll be back sometime with something else. And I don't know, my brain, I've got so much going on, I don't know what I'm going to do next. Who knows? Right? Take care.